certainly Can I Get a Witness, shall we say, seems like it has the tight production hand of the Holland Dozier Holland team. Did you feel comfortable on that song working within the pounding piano framework?
I felt very comfortable with Holland and Dozier because they were very serious producers, and me being an Aryan, I could understand where they were coming from, and I tried very hard to interpret what they were feeling and thinking about when they wrote the song, as I feel even today I'm a good interpreter. My last album is strictly an interpretation of Leon Ware, because he's basically responsible for all the songs. I didn't write the music, any of them, but I love to interpret occasionally. So I tried to interpret what I thought they felt, and it was very taxing on my voice because I was still finding my voice. And I was still finding how to control my voice and how to sing harsh, but yet not tear my throat out, and how to get up on some of the notes, and I never quite made it in some cases. Other cases I would, but I was still very experimental. My voice was in a very experimental stage with their kind of music because it needed the roughness and the softness in spots, and it was very difficult to control my voice like they wanted me to because they cut the songs very high, and I would get very angry at them for cutting it very high, but they would always say that had they not cut them that high, that they wouldn't have sold like they did, because when you sang very high at the point where you are about to gag or you're about to kill yourself or have a stroke or something, and that's how we used to record. I used to look at Levi Stubbs at Four Tops in the studio sometimes. Man, I wondered, his veins were popping out, his neck muscles were about to, and they had to stop the tape and spray his throat and call in the respiratory unit. Hold it, man, hold it. And I would do the same thing. You know, I said, oh my God, I can't sing this song, man. Please, please, do something. But we'd had to finally get through with it. We'd be killing us. If you listen to some of those old records, you'll know what I mean. I was singing, you know, and it was rough. But it's old records.
This brings me to your last big Holland Dozier Holland hit, How Sweet It Is, and I've always wondered if that song title was based on the Jackie Gleason show.
I think so, because expressions have to come from someplace. It's a good thing, you know. I think they're very enterprising and right on top of things to have been able to have come up with something nice. You know, it taught me something, and I've learned that lesson ever since. And I've been dealing with things that are entrenched into the mind, statements, words, and things, because it makes writing easier, and it gives you instant communication with the record buyer, because he relates to something he's heard over the years, and here it is set to music, and it makes the sale easier.
Whereas your teaming up with Mary was a commercial move because she had a greatest hits collection already, Tammy Terrell had, at the time of your recording with her, not had a solo hit. Who thought of putting you with this new artist?
That's not an easy question for me, because I don't think, you know, I wasn't consulted, as I wasn't really consulted with any of the girls except Diana Ross. I had finally come to a position with the company whereby Barry felt that I should be personally consulted when he wanted me to record the album with Diana Ross. From the very top, you know, I had achieved that kind of respect, I imagine. With Tammy Terrell and all the other girl singers, including Kim Weston in It Takes Two, I was told or suggested too strongly. And them having their allies push it, you know, and so I relented. And all those cases. Not stubbornly in all cases, but with Tammy, I wanted to do it, because there was a new team that was brought in, it was Ashford and Simpson, and it wasn't so much, I liked Tammy, she was pretty, and she was nice, and she was soft and warm and sweet and misunderstood. And I enjoyed working with her. And that, coupled with Ashford and Simpson, made the project an enjoyable one.
World is just a great big onion.
You were produced in that time by Johnny Bristol and Harvey.
Harvey Fuqua, yes.
What was it like in those sessions with all those people there, or at least involved in the creation of these memorable duets?
Well, you see, I had a good rapport with Harvey as a result of being with him for years as a member of the Moonglows, and a mutual friendship and camaraderie and respect. So I took direction from him easily. Johnny Bristol, I don't take direction from people that I don't feel are qualified, Not that I didn't feel Johnny was qualified. I just thought I'd make that statement.
With Tammy, you had a string of hits, more in the States than in Britain, but you did have the Onion song as a top 10 in this country. And one of the songs you had with her, which made the American charts, was the first hit you had credited solely to you as a writer, which was If This World Were Mine. Was that a result of a newfound confidence in your own songwriting ability, or was it just chance?
No, it wasn't chance, I'm a good songwriter. The problem with me, I'm probably as prolific a songwriter as any songwriter ever was. I feel I have those kinds of songs in my piano bench. But the problem was a political one with me from my insurgence with Motown. I just don't let my songs go. I still have songs that I've written back in the 50s and the 60s that I refuse to record. I feel they're smashes, and and there are a lot of pop songs and standard type songs too that I just refuse to. You see, my publishing deal with Motown isn't flexible enough that I can afford for them to have them.
Does this suggest that you're waiting for the day when you're with another company to do
No,
this?
it suggests, heaven forbid, it suggests that I'm waiting for the day that they treat me with the proper respect.
Which means either more artistic decision-making or higher royalty.
One of the two. Not especially in that order.
With your here in mind, life is so wonderful. Give me plenty loving, baby. Give me plenty loving, honey.
Tammy's unfortunate death did really hurt you at the time, from what I understand. Is that why you took a vacation from recording for a while?
It didn't prompt my decision altogether, her death, but it certainly played a great influence on my decision to not perform publicly for a few years or record any records, because I understood the bottom line of her death, which I wouldn't like to discuss.
It was during the period when you were doing duets with Tammy that you enjoyed your greatest solo hit, which was I Heard Through the Grapevine. And Gladys Knight and the Pips told me that Norman cut you on that song on a track which they had already had for one of their singles. Were you aware of that?
Yeah, I don't know why Gladys is laboring under that misapprehension. And she always has. I think she gets some kind of kick out of that. You know, I love Gladys very much. She's great. And she's always seemed to have had that little number about this number. There's something that just sort of ticks her off about the whole heard it through the grapevine situation. There was something unethical involved. On that score, she has a beef. But the reality of the situation is that Norman cut it on me first. And Barry canned it because he didn't have a lot of faith in it. Or for whatever reason, because he had the power to can it. You know, maybe I was acting ridiculous at the time. He said, well, you know, I don't have to put the record out on the guy. You know, he's ridiculous. So he's, you know, the hell with it. Which happened a few times, you know. And, you know, I would do the same thing if somebody was giving me a lot of trouble. And I must say, I've given him some problems. So, as a result of it being on the can, Norman knew he had a good song. So he cut it on Gladys and he put it out. So she came out with the version first. My song had been in the can for over a year. And then after she put it out, then Motown released it on me, which to Gladys is a bit unethical because, you know, you don't want anybody from your own company covering your own, you know, a record. It's unethical in a sense, you know. There's something not good about it, but it's no fault of mine. I hope Gladys understands that. I didn't have any control over the situation at all.
The British and American #1, I Heard It Through the Grapevine, concludes Part 1 of our Marvin Gaye interview. Part 2 will be heard at this time next week. The focus of the artist's work shifts from singles to albums as he releases the early 70s masterpieces, What's Going On and Let's Get It On. As a consequence, the public sees not just Gaye the star, but Marvin the man.